If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes. Whoever may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight, climb aboard the mothership, secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast tonight. It is an honor to have you here with me this evening. I'm glad we can hang out. The last couple weekends we've only had like one night per weekend together, but I believe it was Easter and then my daughter's birthday. I'm hanging out with my daughters. But we're back. So if you're listening live tonight, you may be listening to us on KPNL Radio, which you may find on KPNL Radio at kpnl-eb.com. You may also watch us on Facebook, youtube.com, and Twitch. Right now, our Facebook and Twitch are not broadcasting. That's because bitches be broke these days and I can't afford it. So as soon as my tax returns come in, I'm going to have wheels under my ass and we're going to have more locations covered as far as with video. So that'll be nice. If you want to listen in your free time, whether you're working at, or working out, you can listen to us at Spreaker.com or wherever else you may be listening out there beyond the Omniverse tonight. So tonight it's story time with me, TessaTNT. We're going to be finishing up The Blue Beings Visitation at the UFO Conference by Reverend John Polk. And then after that, we're either going to do Reddit Ghost Stories or Am I the asshole? It's called Am I the A-hole? We might do both. A little bit of each. Because we got quite a bit of time here, so we can do all kinds of things. Drop me a line. Let me know what you like or what you would like to see or listen to. You can leave us a message in Spreaker on We Are Paradox Media. You can also leave us a note there in YouTube or kick me a line at weareparadoxmedia@gmail.com. Alright, before we kick off this here book, I like to do basically the message for the day. And it's like advice or positive or whatnot. Sometimes they're funny. This one says, "A friend is one who knows you as you are, understands where you've been, accepts who you've become, and still gently invites you to grow. Be a friend." So that was a pretty good one. And we'll have the next one tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow night we're going to do trippy TikToks. Because my daughter's birthday was today, or her birthday party. Late start, which I've said before, I think we might start at 7:30 from here on out, because it just seems to fit good with my schedule and other people's schedules. So I'm thinking that'll be a good thing. The only way it's going to suck is people on the East Coast, but hey, it's only 30 minutes, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? The Moon People. Several years ago, I came across a report done by the British on the Native American Indian. According to the report, the Cherokee talked of these blue-skinned people that lived on the land before the Cherokee. It was reported that the Cherokee wiped them out. Through an interview I did with Blue Otter, a Cherokee Indian himself and author of Prophecy Keepers, I found out that these blue-skinned people were not wiped out but lived in caves below the surface of the earth. I'm going to leave a little marker here because something I want to check out from this page. He told me that the Cherokee accounts tell that when they came into this land, they found many gardens, but not the people that would have tended to the gardens. Later they found that these people of the gardens lived underground and came out only at night to tend the gardens. The food was harvested and then taken back underground to the homes they had there. These people had blue skin and large eyes. The sun rays were too harsh for them on the surface, so they chose to live underground away from the harsh rays of the sun, and only come out at night using the light of the moon. The Cherokee called them Moon People. Although it was assumed that this race of blue-skinned people were wiped out by the Cherokee, we discovered recently that this may not be true. Several men were exploring some deep caves in Arkansas. After going down so deep, someone or thing started throwing rocks at them, apparently attempting to discourage them from going any deeper into the cave. The men scared off whatever or whoever it was that were throwing the stones and continued to go deeper. After about 1 mile down into the cave, they came upon some plastic-type transparent tubes. At this point, they could not go any further, but they could see a city on the other side and saw several people with blue skin. This one is Tuareg Berbers of the Sahara. And this is from www.info.com. Berbers of the Sahara, numbering close to 2 million. They have preserved their ancient alphabet, which is related to that used by ancient Libyans. The Tuaregs traditionally maintained a feudal system consisting of a small number of noble families, a large majority of vassals, and a lower class of black non-Tuareg serfs who performed the agricultural tasks. The upper classes organized in tribes, convoy caravans, and until subdued by France were feared as raiders. The fiercely independent Tuareg resented European hegemony in Africa, and they long resisted conquest. Tuareg men go veiled, while the women are unveiled. Women enjoy respect and freedom, and descent and inheritance are through the female line. Though nominally Muslims, the people still retain many pre-Islamic rites and customs. Traditional way of life for the Tuaregs, e.g. raiding neighboring tribes, leading caravans, and exacting taxes from trans-Sahara travelers, has changed. Since the 1970s, droughts and famines have forced many Tuaregs from their desert homes into urban areas. Many have become farmers. According to a few obscure references to the Tuareg in the transcripts of Zadi Suvau, from which this legend surfaces, as well as to stories Westphal had told, there's a link between these people and the Delvar Nar. They're often referred to as the Blue Men of the Desert. Suvau provides no further details other than the word Tuareg, at least that I have yet found. Much more to go through. Anyway, I find it fascinating that these particular Muslims operate rather in the reverse of the traditional Muslim, a matriarchal foundation which could also link them back to the Lemurians. The Anishinaabe Nation prophecy of the Blue People. I hope I was pronouncing the tribe correctly. If not, my deepest apologies. According to the prophecy, there are 4 groups of people: the red, the yellow, the black, and the white. Korshin says that from today's youth, a new group of people will be born, the blue people, who will be tolerated and tolerant of each other and will bring spiritual harmony and sacredness back to the earth. This will prepare the way for a rebirth of Mother Earth. Attribution unknown. The blue beings as alien species. Note, originally on the site aliens.monstrous.com/blues.htm, Mary saved this info on her site. My race, aka Star Warriors, Moon Eyes. Description: the blues are said to have translucent skin, large almond-shaped eyes, extremely sensitive to light, and are small of stature. Origin: they claim to be descendants of Noah, who traveled to the Western Hemisphere a few centuries following the deluge, and discovered ancient antediluvian cavern systems and ancient technologies which had been abandoned by the antediluvians in deep subterranean recesses. They have been encountered mostly in deep cavern systems beneath the general region of the Ozarks, Arkansas, and surrounding regions. Attitude: these peaceful people may, according to some accounts, be allied to the Nordics and or blondes. Witness: allegedly encountered on the moon by our U.S. astronauts, according to John Lear and others. According to Morning Sky, the Hopi Apache dancer, the first alien contact started about 1947 to 1948 with the Greys contacting the U.S. government to form a treaty with them. Another body of aliens arrived, called the Blues. The Blues advised the government not to deal with the Greys, saying it would only lead to disaster. They told the U.S. to follow your own path. They said they would teach with peace and harmony if men would disarm and listen. The military said, no deal. This information can also be verified through the MJ-12 papers. MS. So they left, but a few decided to remain and stayed in northern Mexico and Arizona and made a treaty with the Hopi Indians. These aliens are known by the Hopi as Star Warriors. The Greys started monitoring the Blues, so the Blues had to flee the reservation and go into hiding. A few of the elders went with them. The Hopi legend is that there were 2 races, the children of the feather, who came from the skies, and the children of the reptile, who came from under the earth. The children of the reptile chased the Hopi Indians out of the earth. These evil undergrounders were also called Two Hearts. Information provided to Mary Sutherland by Patrick. Full identity not yet known. That looks like it. So we have about the author. And it says that Reverend John Marcus Polk is an international metaphysical minister, a Reiki master teacher, and a medium. Reverend Polk was born in 1969 in Raleigh, North Carolina. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in broadcasting and another Bachelor of Arts degree in metaphysics from the University of Sedona. This university granted John the title of International Metaphysical Minister. After his studies were completed, John is also a Reiki master and an instructor in Usui Reiki. I hope I pronounced that right too, I don't know. He is the founder of Wolf Spirit Ministries, LLC. In addition to all of this, John was gifted with the ability to be a channel and a medium. In his book, Yahweh, the Biblical God, is an Alien, John adds his insights into ancient alien theory as a theologian in the area of exospirituality. Reverend Polk is a psychic medium making contact with the ancestral spirit, aliens, and ghosts. If you'd like to contact Reverend John Polk, you can find him under the @ Reverend Polk on Twitter, Marcus Polk on Facebook, johnpolkmedia.com, and alienoraclescrolls.com. Okay, so their show is the Quantum Hologram Matrix radio show. As Reverend John Polk have an internet-based radio show called Quantum Hologram Matrix on the Spaceboy Network Wednesday nights. Find it on SoundCloud. So it's soundcloud.com/spaceboy-universe/quantum hologram-matrix-QHM. Alright, we did it. We finished the book. This was quite a short one, I must say. But it was nice nonetheless. Alright, let's get on into what we were gonna do. So, I'm thinking let's do some Reddit ghost stories, and then we'll decide where to go from there during the first or the second hour. We are in the first hour. Hello. Alright. This one has been deleted, so I can't tell you who wrote it. And I was reading this before I got on the air, and I don't know if this person speaks broken language or is really young. I'm not sure, but bear with me. So it was a time of winter, and I had gone to my aunt's house for vacation with my mom. And it's in a very constructive area, like the town was being made and the area was not so developed. So there was an apartment where my aunt used to live. It was spacious and all, so we used to get a spare room, so me and my mom used to sleep there. One night, I was not being able to sleep, but my mom was, so my uncle works late in the evening in the living room, and our room had a shelf where he kept his files. Someone entered our room. I just could feel it. I thought it was my uncle looking for something after like 1 minute. He left. I didn't react as I could be scolded on for being awake at late of night. He saw my face and said, "No." I was confused. I said, "No, you did." But he denied. I kept this to myself as people could make fun of me. After a year, my mom and aunt were talking about ghosts and paranormal stuff. So my mom said, "I felt someone running in the living room in deep night." My aunt also agreed, and my aunt said when she was pregnant, she felt someone come inside her room and touch her forehead, which was weird because she was home alone. And then I got some courage and said my experience as well. I didn't act surprised. This scared me, and I did feel uncomfortable in that home. This could be a delusion and something fake, but I don't know if it's real or not. Tell me in the comments about your opinions, and sorry for my mistakes. I'm not a native speaker. Alright. Do I go back that way, or do I scroll back up and go back? Yeah, I don't want to mess it up. Alright. Alright, this is from u/Alex_UWU03. My haunting experiences from my childhood home. Hi. I know this might not sound true or scary, but experiencing it yourself, it's terrifying. For context, we have a terraced house, so our house and our neighbor's house are together. It's a 2-story high, 2 rooms upstairs, living room, kitchen, bathroom, and a laundry room. When walking up to the house, we will go through the patio, where you will go past the living room window, and to our door. We had a few windows in the whole house, but they are all in almost normal human height from outside, so people can just stare in. Anyway, that is what I would describe our house like. I grew up in that house, so I only know most of these stories from my parents. Thinking about it now, it's giving me goosebumps. So, I was around 3 or 4 years old, and I was outside the house playing. My mom suddenly noticed that I was giggling a lot, and sounded like I was talking to someone. We knew everyone in town, so she didn't think too much of it. When she went outside for a quick smoke, she could see me from the patio, but she couldn't see the person I was talking to. So she called me over to her, asking me who I was talking to. I told her I was talking to an old man, and that he wanted to come inside and play with me and my toys. That's always a no there, buddy. She thought I was talking to an imaginary friend. She said yes, that he could, not knowing she had invited a not friendly phenomenon into the house. See, what did I say? Because this old guy was not friendly at all, as a kid I didn't know. But when I grew older, I could tell he wasn't just an imaginary friend, he was an evil spirit. He would knock on our doors and windows, knock things down or move them around. He was the reason I couldn't walk down our stairs forward, only backwards. He would push me down the stairs and make loud thumping noises. Down or up the stairs. When I was 12 years old, we started sleeping in our living room for 2 or 3 years, because the old guy stayed upstairs in our bedrooms. I remember I had a lot of sleep paralysis up in my room, where the old guy was scaring me, walking slowly towards me. He had really dark eyes, almost black, around 60 to 70 years old, open mouth, and had a raspy old voice. He didn't say much when he did, but in short sentences. I can't remember them, but I know he wanted to tell me something. You'll understand at the end of my story. I remember one thing from when we slept in our living room. I had an out-of-body experience. I was watching me and my parents sleeping. Suddenly I noticed a shadow at our kitchen window, and I noticed it was looking at my mom. Then I noticed that my mom had sleep paralysis, but this time it wasn't the old guy she saw, but a demon with a long cloak and was holding chains in its hand. It swung them like a lasso and threw it at my mom's feet. The chains locked to my mom's feet, and my mom couldn't do anything but watch it, trying to scream. The demon started to pull my mom off the couch, and she just laid motionless. As soon as she hit the floor, she could finally scream and woke up my dad and me. She couldn't talk, and my dad was so confused, so I told him what I saw, and we called the priest to cleanse our house. My mom couldn't walk on her feet for over a week after that experience. When we were going to move to Denmark from our home city, we had to get our boxes from the attic, and as we were getting them down, we found a picture of the old man. We quickly found our Bible and we said prayers, burned the picture, and I just felt at peace. I knew he was trying to tell me something, but I still never know why. Later I found out that the old guy was my friend's grandpa, who died years ago, but he lived in the house before us. I go visit his grave whenever I am in our old city. I don't know why I wrote it here, I just haven't told many about this. Has anyone else experienced something like this? Thank you for reading. Well, our house, I can say, is haunted. I actually have a sign at the front gate that says, "Welcome to our haunted house." And cleaning the kitchen and getting behind the counters and stuff one day, I found wedged in the crack, which is the weirdest place for it to be, a happy birthday card for this old man named John Rodriguez or Gonzalez. I can't remember. I know it was a Hispanic last name. And I told my neighbor, Lisa, and said, "Oh, that's the old man that used to live there. He died in that back room there from emphysema." And I was like, "Oh, snap, that's my bedroom." And I heard a guy coughing one night before I was going to work, and it scared the itch out of me, so I bolted. I was the only one at home, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm leaving for work, because I don't think I could stay in there. After hearing that, that was really, really scary to me. Okay, there's looks like a little movie, perhaps. Yeah, demonic. Haimuki House by You Like V007. I don't know if is it okay to watch that on here? We could, I suppose. Let me make sure I fix the sound so there's no echo. And I pushed the wrong button, of course. Alright, give me a second. Give me a moment. Real ghost stories. Very spooky. I mean, while I was there, I should have looked. Nope. I gotta mute this, I believe. And go back. Let's see how this goes. I hope it is a good. Oh, it's not available anymore. What the heck? I wonder if somebody complained. Well, that sucks. Well, I guess we can't listen to or watch that. I'll give it a like anyways. An E for effort. And I try to like the ones that I've read, so that way I know that I've read them and I don't read them again next time. Growing up in Scotland. Alright, this could be interesting. Oh, and the user has been deleted. I wonder why. It always trips me out. Why do people delete themselves? Growing up in Scotland. I grew up in a large old house in rural Scotland during the 1980s. The house had a long, steep footpath from the gate to the house. Let me make sure I'm sharing over here. Okay, yes I am. Up the slope, it's too steep for a car. We used to have milk delivered between 5 and 6 a.m. by the local milkman, but after a while they stopped delivering to the doorstep, choosing to drop the bottles at the bottom gate. My mom asked why, and the milkman said his lad was scared of the gardener. We didn't have a gardener, and my mom didn't push back or question it, simply putting it down to a lazy milkman's lad or them wanting to speed through delivery. A few months went past and my brothers had a friend over to play. His friend told my mom that Sandy's grandpa is in the front garden. He's just standing there with his fork, not saying anything. My mom wondered who it was. Walked around the house, saw nothing. Asked what he looked like and had a description of a man with white beard, tweed bonnet, worn tweed clothing, and trousers held up by a tied string. Mom thought it sounded like the village alcoholic and mentally diminished man who did odd jobs, known as Billy. Everyone knew Billy, and my brother's friend said no. Billy doesn't have a beard, and my mom said of course he doesn't. Must be someone else. Other than the beard, this was a good description of Billy. Mom thought nothing more. About 6 months later, we had swapped to a new dairy delivering to us from a town about 10 miles away because Mom was fed up with collecting milk from the gate. After a few weeks, there was a smashed milk bottle on the doorstep, and then they stopped delivering, same as before. My mom phoned up to speak to them, and they said they'd speak to the lad going and doing the run, an 18-year-old. He told them he was scared by the old man gardening and was sorry for smashing the bottle, but he startled him by standing over him. Ooh, that would be creepy. This time my mom asked what he looked like and had the same description my mother's friend gave. Old man with beard, wore a cap and old tweeds. There are, of course, lots of plausible explanations, but it is the one thing I can't explain because the milkmen wouldn't have known each other, and my brother's friend, who was about 10, would explain and wouldn't know the milkman either. There were no other incidents in the 15 years we lived there after that. My dad was a local doctor and ex-military man. Being very much the scientist, even set up a little trigger trap with fishing lines and tent pegs to see if they would be disturbed by someone passing through the garden. But they were never triggered. No idea if it was an actual old man who gardened or whatever. I'm not religious and don't believe in fairies, but this is the closest I come to it. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one. Especially that old man standing over that kid. I would have pooed my pants, I think. That would not be cool. What does FC mean? This one is by u/formal-pin-3239. Like it. For context, I'm 18, just started a new job at a hospital, and there is one building built in 1867 that I got to explore recently with beautiful architecture and creepy hallways. So I asked about if any of the staff had stories, and I got 3 good ones from a member of staff. Let's call him Dave. Story 1. So, one night in this building, the security break box was broken, and so one of the security team members came down to check it out, and he then called Dave to come and fix it. When Dave got there, the security guy was down in the car park and nowhere near the back entrance, where the repairs were needed. Dave spoke to the guy who refused to go close to the building with him, so he went by himself. As he was fixing the security break box, he heard some small tapping noises, as if someone was throwing marbles or small stones at a brick wall. Dave shouted down to the security guard, "Stop fucking about." The guard replied that he wasn't doing anything, so Dave just carried on and again heard the tapping noises the entire time, not seeing any rocks landing or hitting any walls around him. When he finished, he went down to the security guard, and the guard asked what he was talking about earlier, and Dave just said that he thought the guy was effing around, and that the guard said, "Did you hear rocks being thrown at you?" And Dave said, "Yeah." And then the guard said, "That's why I'm fucking down here." This specific experience has been told by a lot of staff. Story 2. In this building, there is a basement, because of course there is, that has open stairs as you go down, and there is a long hallway at the bottom of the stairs, with some pipes and other old things that were important to keep this place running. One night, Dave was down there with another colleague, and they were walking towards the end of his hallway, and Dave sees a dark, shadowy figure quickly move at the end of the hallway, and just brush it off to being a trick of the light and or something psychological, and then his colleague asked him if he had seen it, to which Dave said, "Seen what?" The other guy that was there described the shadow figure at the end of the hallway in the same space and stated He had seen it a few times, but thought it was just his shadow. Story 3. Another night, Dave and a different staff member were working up in the attic with only their head torches, and Dave's colleague was mucking about and asked, "If there are any spirits around, give us a sign." Immediately, there was a loud crash from across the attic, and so they whipped their heads around to look at where it came from, and there was nothing there at all. Nothing that could have caused the crash. No boxes that could have fallen, no humans, and no animals. Nothing to explain the crash, to which the other staff member said, "Well, I think I've said the wrong thing." Most employees will not go into the building alone or anywhere near it at night. Even security guards will miss it off their checks at night because they are too scared to go near it. This doesn't mean nobody checks in. There are plenty of cameras around this area. While taking in all this info and more, would it be dumb to ask if someone would let me in at night to experience this for myself, to see if there are any truth to these stories of the ghost that haunts at night? Probably. I'm still going to ask if it's possible. Absolutely. Okay, so I don't think I finished the story about John. So I told you how he passed, but over the years, he's been seen several times by my kids, and he's friendly, doesn't really mess with people. He's not trying to scare anybody. He's just trying to exist in his home that, he lived in for quite a long time and passed away in. So we just let him be. But yeah, last time he was seen, my son had actually seen him and said, "Mom, last night I saw an old man messing with the heater box," which is the, what do they call it? Basically the heat regulator. You turn it to what temperature you would like it to be. Yeah. But like I said, he's a nice guy. There's no worries about that. So, let's see, what are they talking about? Is it here? I see two eyes, or what could be two eyes, and then a mist right here, which could be someone's hand or hair going into the picture. What is that? I don't know what that is. I'm looking around. Do I see anything else? Do you guys see anything? If so, let me know in the comments and I'll go back and check it out again, but pretty sure it's here, but it could be here. That is so weird. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Oh yeah, it is. There's a close-up of it. It's a little girl. Looks like she's screaming or crying. Is she covering her ears? Or is that just her hair? Oh, she's cute. Cute little girl. Yeah, so I wonder what that is. But yeah, that's pretty epic. It looks fuzzy, like in the big one, but once they zoom in on it and clarify it, you can totally see a little girl there. That is crazy. Okay, now I see she's facing forward. I thought she was facing sideways at first. Wow. That is interesting. Just looking down there to see what the heck that is. That's creepy. I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's badass. That's a good pick right there. That's cool. If you guys have scary stories, send them here and we'll read them on the air. Or send them ghost and scary stories under Reddit. r/ghosts and scary stories. Alright. This one's by Bratty Brat. Strange but not terrifying experience at Desert Hot Springs. So, I stayed at a posh mineral hot springs called Two Bunch Palms last week to celebrate my birthday. I had a standalone villa to myself. There are no other rooms in the building, it's just this little living space all by itself. The interior consists of a bathroom, bedroom, and living area, all open without doors between them. The first 3 nights were lovely and I slept quite well. The last night I started feeling just weird, like someone was watching me. It lasted for about an hour until I went to bed. I wear a sleeping mask at night. I don't see how people use those. Because I often get insomnia, and that way, if I wake up, it's still dark and therefore easier to get back to sleep. So I woke up in the middle of the night, as I often do, but again, I felt uncomfortable, like someone was watching me. I took off the mask and saw that the lamp in the living area was flickering on and off. I had definitely turned it off before bed, so I turned it off. I felt a little freaked out, but decided I was too tired to really care. I went back to bed. Shortly thereafter, I heard knocking coming from the corner of the room with the lamp. I decided it must have been something blowing in the wind and decided to go back to sleep. When I got up in the morning, I went about getting packed up to go, but after a bit, the knocking started again in the corner of the room where the lamp is. I went outside and walked all the way around the villa, checking for what might be making the knocking sound. I found nothing that could make the noise, no trees or other items that might be getting rhythmically blown against the building. No mechanical stuff, nothing, and I said, this is a standalone 1-bedroom villa without any other rooms attached. I could not explain the knocking sound. I returned to the room. The intermittent knocking continued, and I continued to have the weird feeling of being watched. I decided I was being silly, and checked it out. I mean, it's a posh, newish, I thought, place, not some old crusty hotel. When I got home after the drive, I Googled the place and found a couple of employees who reported ghost stories, as well as found out that the place was a favorite of Al Capone. I'm not sure what to make of it, but my gut tells me something was off, that I was right to feel like I was being watched. Well, no, not a dramatic or scary story, but a real one. I mean, it's a little dramatic and scary. Alright. I thought I liked that. What the heck? What the heck is happening here? Is this not sharing or saving my stuff? Hello? Alright. Yeah, because we like this too. This is weird. What is happening? Okay. This just doesn't make sense. Maybe it doesn't like me scrolling? Maybe you have to be there for a bit for it to stay? I don't know. Well, I have no idea what Mr. Danny D is saying right here. I think it's German. But, yeah, I don't speak German. I am of German descent, but... No spreche. This one is by Real Ghost Stories. Well, hello. For context, I was about 13 years old when it all started. I've always had vivid memories of when I was a child, remembering things as far back as 3 or 4 years old. I was just turned 14, and it was a chilly January Thursday night when we moved in, a much bigger house than our last. We needed the room after all. Having 7 kids wasn't easy on my parents. My little sister, Neve, had an imaginary friend Paul, but nobody thought anything of it, of course. The first night, as I was organizing my shoes and putting all my posters out in my room to myself, She was wandering around looking at my stuff. She then said, "Paul would like your closet. He likes you." I barely gave it any notice, as she would say that stuff all the time, and apparently Paul had always lived in my closet for some reason. She was only 7, so I brushed it off. But just when I was dozing to sleep in my new bed, I heard something in the corner of my room, like a tapping or creaking noise. Then my Rottweiler, sitting on the end of my bed, stood up and started growling. I ignored it, as I thought it was just the pipes or something, so I flipped over in my bed. I then felt the feeling of someone sitting on the end of my bed. I thought it was just one of my sisters climbing into my bed, something they did when they couldn't sleep, so I ignored it until I felt that thing lie down behind me, and in the corner of my eye, I saw a dark shadow-like hand over my waist, and I moved over to get a better look, as I don't like when someone's touching me as I sleep. And it feels as if, in record time, it gets off my bed in less than seconds as I'm turning over, and I see nothing, of course, but then I heard my closet door open and shut loudly on the other side of my room, and my clothes hangers rattle. Oh yeah, Paul. Well, Paul better just stay in his closet, that's all I can say. This one is by I'm Okay, No Thanks. My cautious and very frightening experience of Goatman's Bridge in Denton, Texas. Hi, for reference, I am a 21 or 24-year-old female. Okay, I'm going to start out by apologizing for not adding my photos, tangible proof or deep history lessons here. I would appreciate if you all could not accuse me of lying or being mentally ill. This is 100% true. You must take me at my word, because this is still an ongoing experience for me, and I'm physically affected every day by ongoing nausea, especially when I look at the photos or talk about the history of this haunted place. I am trying my best to avoid making matters worse. I feel grueling resistance as I am typing this, and I am fighting the nausea right at this moment, so I hope you can understand. Last Sunday was Father's Day. I was with my boyfriend, my mom, and my dad sitting at the dinner table, eating, when the topic of ghost hunting came up. My boyfriend, let's call him B, and I love this type of thing. Neither of us are particularly religious, and we are a couple of open-minded, curious agnostics, so the idea that spirits could exist and possibly show themselves to us excites us very much. You don't have to be agnostic to believe in ghosts or have ghostly experiences. We had heard about this Goatman's Bridge, officially called Old Alton Bridge, from a couple sources, friends, Ghost Adventures TV show, and other articles online. We also live relatively close to the location. Please look up the history yourself. Just Google Goatman's Bridge, Denton history. I will tell you it is KKK-related gruesome violence, leading to the death of a successful African-American that lived nearby. Every time I read about it now, I feel like I am going to puke. So anyways, we decided to go, and if you don't know, I'm pretty sure the guy used to sell goats, and yeah, they ended up hanging him. Because how dare he? So anyways, we decided to go. My dad has never encountered a spirit before, and this place seemed to be a very popular spot for ghost hunting. We went at about 10 p.m., a prime time to explore the bridge and hike the trails with little interruption. The bridge at first was empty and seemed a bit spooky, but we didn't see anything out of the ordinary there. We then hiked a couple different trails nearby. The first one was completely fine, no activity. The second trail, we saw a pair of glowing eyes in the distance when I shone my flashlight in that direction. We all think it was a deer, though. Third trail, we came up to this very scary-looking graffiti-covered structure. It had words like, "We all die." It had 2 pentagrams within the letters of that. There were stars across the top of it, with fake blood dripping from every other one. And it also had a number of symbols and words that none of us, or Google-ins, could decipher. Although we all did see my nickname, Jin, written slightly hidden within another acronym. I forgot that it was, and I'm not going to look at the pictures right now, sorry. Later, B had dug some more online and found out that the structure is actually an altar that had been used for animal sacrifices and is still being used in rituals by a modern group called the Dark KKK. All in all, the most exciting part about going to the place itself was me tripping over a root and bruising both my knees. Yeah, so kinda boring. The only paranormal activity that the 3 of us had witnessed was my dad expressing he felt an unexplainable quick tap on his back a few yards from the altar. So we go back to the bridge, and to our surprise, about 4 or 5 men, white early 20s, were sitting on the spider-infested bridge, smoking cigarettes and remaining unusually silent. I honestly don't know why anyone would hang out up there at midnight and not have flashlights or anything, but hey, maybe they're just kind of weird, who knows? I didn't have a very good feeling about them, though. As soon as I got in the car, I felt like I was going to puke. I was not sick with any illness. I am not sick now either. At first, I believed it was and is a visceral reaction to the haunted place. Now, I know it was and is something more. When we got home, I was in immense pain, unspeakable, excruciating nausea. I went to go wash my hands in the bathroom when I looked at my reflection. I didn't recognize myself. I was looking into someone else's eyes. I met the gaze of someone violent, someone with immense hate. It was not my reflection, rather someone or something was using my body to see through me. I know it sounds crazy, but it just gets crazier. I apologize on some of these upcoming details. I was not in control of my body or mind at this time. My memory of this part is almost dreamlike. E could see that something had changed in me. He told me to lie down because the nausea was making me lightheaded and very dizzy. I remember B asking me a series of questions. I don't remember most, but I do remember saying that I am not Jin. I remember how my hate-filled gaze felt resting on B's eyes. I remember my dog not coming over to me like she usually does. I remember telling B that I was unsure of whether he should stay or not, because I was afraid I would hurt him. Physically, I felt extremely violent to the point that I was digging my nails into my hands as hard as I could, but could feel no pain. I remember wanting to break his hand when I was holding it. I remember fixating on a wall filled with very old photos of my ancestors, and having a feeling that whatever is in me is trying to learn how to become me. Ew. I still think that last feeling I mentioned is lingering in me every day, even today. The next day I woke up and couldn't shake the thought that I had this new body. I tried doing things I didn't normally do. I was testing my pleasures, my body, its limits. Dang, Cletus. I think whatever took over my body is mostly gone. There is a possibility that I may be in fact haunting my own psyche since that night as a reaction to try to cope. Both B and I know that something took hold of me that night, and I am paying for that every day now. By the way, I took pictures with the DSLR, some with flash and some without. In almost every photo, if you zoomed all the way in, you could see at least one red, strange-looking pixel lurking in different parts of the photo. I have absolutely no clue if this is a camera-related issue or not, but I become more physically ill the longer I look at them. Does anyone know if this is normal or taking raw night photos on a Canon Rebel T31? The red dots showed up in both images with flash and without flash, so totally dark. So as you know, B did more digging on Google after this whole thing, and he actually found out that women typically have had stronger paranormal experiences or reactions at Goatman's Bridge, and could be related to this evil spirit named Steve. I do not wish to say any more about that, so please feel free to look it up. If anyone has a good cure for nausea besides Pepto or weed, that would be greatly appreciated. Also cures for getting rid of these lingering psychological effects that resulted from that night, I would like it, and that'd be nice too. Open to any discussions or questions, recommendations? Thanks. Well, I heard peppermint is good for nausea. Or ginger. I like ginger, that's good. I like those soft peppermints, those are nice. Alright. This is by another Aussie 101. The house I grew up in was haunted. Okay, so these are my experiences of when I was growing up in a house so blatantly haunted my friends only ever stayed ever once. Might as well start with the daily occurrences. For context, the house was raised, so we had a garage and basically storage under the living space at ground level, so no animals walking on the ground and making noise in the house and stuff. So we had the footsteps walking down the hall when there was only me in the house, the pantry door being open. Every morning, Dad would be up at like 4 a.m. to get ready for work, and it would be open, so he'd close it and blamed it on me for some time. Okay, so on to the more wild stuff. I was hanging out with a mate of mine, and we made our way back to my place, and I realized I didn't have a key, so I asked him to just wait at the front door and I'd go to the back door. We never bothered to lock the back door because we had a Neo-Mastiff, so I went around back, walked up the stairs, and opened the door into the kitchen, and directly in front of me was the T-intersecting hallway, and a shadow projected onto the wall. So first the sun was a solid 90 degrees to the side of where the shadow could be mine. Second, it was standing full height from the floor, and as I moved, it didn't. So I froze, and as my mind was processing what I was seeing, turned and bolted towards the living room and front door, and yes, I both heard and felt the footfalls, so in that moment my mind shifted from shadow to intruder, and I run after it. I'm talking like 2 meters across the kitchen and about 3 to the living room, and I remember my friend was at the door waiting for me, so I just make for the door and realize there was nobody around. I opened the door and I told my friend there might be someone hiding right here, so help me check. Nothing. Short one this time, sitting at the computer at about 1 or 2 a.m. having a crank, felt a hot breath blow across the back of my neck. Jumped out of my skin with that one. I have 2 younger sisters, and I was watching TV with one of them in the living room and decided I'd had enough and was going to bed, so got up, said goodnight, started walking to my room, and at the end of the hall, parents' room with mirror not facing the hall but visible from it, was a young girl in white PJs, and I just thought it was the youngest sister and gave it no more thought. For about 3 more steps till I reached her doorway, and she was sitting there playing Naruto game on the old PS2. That's when I looked back at the hall and it was empty. I remember muttering, "Damn it, Bob!" At this point, we had long since started calling the ghost Bob, just so we had something to call it. It's funny because before I knew that our ghost was named John, I called him John. The fated friends' night over, so not much happened for most of the night till we decided that it was bedtime. We were 19 at the time. Anyway, it was the following morning when I got up and went to the living room where my mate had slept, and he looked like hell. The lights had an afterglow function, so you could see for a few minutes after turning them off. Well, apparently about an hour after I'd buggered off to bed, the lights clicked twice and the blue glow kicked on, and that stirred him awake, thinking one of us was up. Then the front door started rattling in the frame like someone was outside pushing and pulling on it. That eventually stopped, and not long after, he heard the footsteps going from the door down the hall and back for some time. He said he pulled the blanket up over his head when the door started banging and wasn't game enough to pull it down to see what was walking around. He flatly refused to stay a single night ever again in that house. This is just a snapshot of the shenanigans that we experienced in that house, but they are also the most memorable. Portals to Hell. CJ-Nash-200. I am going to make a story catalog only about portals of hell. I have a theory that there must be 666 portals, so I'm trying to find them. If you know any, please let me know. Let's see what they said. What they think. Okay, there they are. You're going to do a story, but you want other people to do the work? Found any? Laugh out loud. You've seen too many movies. I will say, though, the most interesting supposed portal to hell I've heard of is the hole in the ground that supposedly sounds like hell. If you look up hole in the ground that sounds like hell or something like that, there are audio recordings of it. I believe that's when in Russia they dug that really deep hole, and it was like miles deep, if I remember correctly. And they ended up lowering the microphone down in there. And yeah, there was some really hellish noises. It was quite freaky. Late night voice outside in our yard. Oh! Well, you know what that means. Last time I looked, I had like 30 minutes. So what that means, it is time for our first music break. On this break, we have the lovely and talented Miss Mia Savage with Our New Reality, When You're in Crypto, Your Skeleton, and Let Me Be Your Home. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break. Welcome back, and thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. If you're just tuning in and this is your first time, I'm your host, TessaTNT. And yeah, broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. How cool is that? So, I was just thinking on break, maybe I'll do 3 of these positive things per hour. I don't know. So this one says, to avoid criticism, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. Well, that's a tip, I suppose. Be nothing, I don't know if I agree with that. Be something. Be a friend, as the last thing said. Remember? Remember that one? Be a friend. A lot of us out there need friends, and it's so important to have people in your life to help you out or raise you up or whatever. We need each other really bad these days. We need to quit letting the government divide us. That's all I can tell you. Different things keep falling in this office. I don't know what's going on. Just so you know, John's not the only ghost we have here. You know, we've had some pretty crazy and not so good things. One tried to actually drown my dog in the toilet, and my my teenage daughter and her teenage cousin were both trying to pull the dog out of the toilet, and they couldn't. And she was just a medium-sized dog. It was crazy. But yeah, that guy left. You just gotta not give him attention, really, is what I've found works. Alright, let's go on with this one. Late night voice in our yard. So this one is kind of short. So step siblings came over like they did every other weekend and stayed. It was late when I'd gotten up to go to the bathroom. I laid back down in my bed to go back to sleep. Mind you, it's summer, so I had my window open. Just before I could go back to sleep, I hear a faint, "Help me." So I get back up and look outside, since that's where I heard it from. We lived in the country, so unless someone was on our property, I shouldn't have heard anything. I heard it again, but a little louder, come from by our garage. I heard it 2 more times before I closed my window and started off to sleep. Just as I dozed off, my little stepsister started to scream. Woke up the whole house. When we all got to her room, she told us she heard someone or something trying to open the door. My room was closest to the door, so she was talking about, but I wasn't able to hear the knob turn. She never heard the voice, but I did tell her, and she told us that she just woke up and heard the knob jiggling and started to freak out. We had that happen in our A-frame when my eldest daughter was staying in this room, and we had just moved into this house. It was out in the middle of the boonies, if you want to call that, here in Colorado. In between 2 lakes, that's why the subdivision was called Twin Lakes. But, yeah. There was 2 ghosts there, according to my daughter, Mommy E and Baby E, and the reason they were called that is because they made the sound like E. That to me is pretty trippy. But yeah, one night, we thought she was trying to get into our room because you heard the doorknob jiggle, 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 and then release, and then the door flies open, and she's not there. So I get out of bed really quick, and I run to, go, get on to her. She was in bed asleep. And she was only, I think, 2 or 3 years old at this point. That was super trippy, for sure. But yeah, I wasn't sad when that house got repossessed. By the mortgage company. Not the Catholic Church. Okay, this is by Real Ghost Stories. Worried Wishbone 643. Just a story from my experiences. So if you've read my first story, you know I've had a lot of experience, so here's one of my more recent experiences, probably 15 years or so ago. So Not too recent, but a lot more than the rest I'm gonna be posting anyways. Here we go. So it's summertime, and we always do a family get-together. The night before we left for said get-together, I'm sleeping in my bed, and I wake up out of nowhere in the middle of the night, and in the house we lived in at the time that became normal, being an old house with a lot of history anyways. I'm laying there awake, and out of nowhere, from downstairs, I hear what sounds like someone kicking down the front door to the house. Heard a loud thud and smashing glass loud enough. I freaked out and yelled for my mom, whose room is across the hall. Takes her a few yells to get her up, but to me, it was weird since I figured she heard the same loud noise that I heard when she finally woke up. Her hours from then. What? When she finally woke up, her and my stepfather were sort of mad. I woke them up in the middle of the night since we were leaving only a few hours from then, but I told them what I'd heard, and they looked at me funny and said I hadn't heard nothing, but went down and checked anyway. They checked the whole house over since we had several doors that came into the house. None were even open, let alone kicked down, so I was told to go back to bed, which I couldn't after that whole ordeal. I laid in bed under the covers the whole rest of the night. This house, I can honestly say, was the most active house I lived in, but all my houses had their fair share. Hope y'all enjoyed my first of many. Let me know. Yeah, someone was saying down in the thing, punctuation is helpful. But we got that one. Got through that one pretty unscathed. This one is by word-wishbone-643. So if you've read my first story, you know, hey, we already read that one. You know, you already read that one. I knew that name was familiar. I'm like, hey, I think we've read this, guys. Oh, let me go back up here just a second. Oh, wow, that's a cool picture. Shadow figures in my room. You know, Reddit, this is really pissing me off that you're not allowing me to like things and leave it there. Alright. So my mom has had a lot of paranormal experiences as well, and she told me one morning about how she was sleeping one night. She woke up early a.m. to find an older man sitting at the end of her bed. She told me he was wearing an old-time oxygen mask. Didn't say anything to her, just looked at her and disappeared. Well, do you see it? I see it. So some people would be like, oh, it's a smudge on the lens. The name of this person has been deleted. He said, took these pictures a few years ago while having a fire, guessing the shape is just from the fire, but still kind of creeped me out. Look at how this is going out and this is going in. I don't think so. Let's click on it so we can get a better look. See, I see a figure, perhaps two. Are they holding something? Are they about to put some wood in there? Let's zoom in on this. Yeah. I don't see that being from the fire. You can see the smoke going up. What the heck is that? That's as far as I can zoom in. Looks like a woman with long hair, a white dress, holding something. Whoa. That's pretty cool. Pretty dang cool. I see her nose and eyes here and her mouth. Huh. I wonder why they deleted themselves. Probably because people were giving them ish. It's like, if you don't like something, just keep scrolling. Can you just let people share their stories in peace? Come on. Come on, people. Let's work together here. This one is by puzzleheaded_fudge15. Ghost in the Parkway. Just 5 days ago now, I was driving home from work around 9 to 10 at night, and right through this wooded parkway was my house. A creek runs down on the right side of it. It's actually a very beautiful spot. But on this night, I believe I saw a ghost darting into the woods near the creek. It presented itself like a glowy white humanoid figure, and it almost appeared to have been wearing a dress. I thought it might be an animal, but it was much too tall and very much looked like an almost human. What was weird about it was that it was pitch black outside, and the figure was glowing. It didn't scare me much, but I did stop the car to stare into the woods, and there was nothing. I came home, told my family about it and such. I thought I was the only one that said and such. My friend used to laugh at me when she used to listen to the show when I would say and such. I'm like, what? That's how I learned to talk from my dad. Come on, man. It wasn't a huge deal. As I said, it didn't scare me and it seemed pretty passive. However, my sister said she had seen the same thing in damn near the same spot 2 years ago. But yesterday, the parkway was flooded with police, right across from the high school baseball field and near the woods right where I saw my ghost. And it turns out they found the body of a 50-year-old woman down there, through the woods close to the creek. It was her skeletal remains and her ID was right next to her. How does that happen? That is so weird. It begs the question, how long was she down there? A place where kids walk home from school all the time? That I drive past every day? And how did she end up there? They're still investigating as it was just discovered. I have no choice but to believe that she was the ghost my sister and I both saw. Super, super freaky, especially considering it's just a short walk down the road from my house. I'm talking less than a mile. Hope she gets her peace. And it makes you wonder, did somebody bury her somewhere else and then dig her up and put her in that place so she wouldn't be found in the place they had originally buried her? So therefore, out there they would not get caught? And with the ID there, why would they do that? So weird. See, this one says, Teddy Biff. Unsettling energy presence in my roommate's house and my experience with it. Then it says, no stupid questions. So maybe they took it down from here and posted it in no stupid questions? Looking for someone who has experience with these things or links to more specific subreddit to ask the question. TLDR kept getting freaked out by my ominous feeling from the corner of the living room. One of my buddies says, ask how you can help it. Proceed to do that, feel like my nervous system is being overwhelmed and am put into a state similar to sleep paralysis. One night, get up as usual around 2 to 3 a.m. to pee, go back to my room, which is next to the living room. Bless you. Excuse me. Hairs in my eyes and distinctly see the shadow of a woman on the wall next to the front door. I know no one but me is at home, still startled, yet go back to bed. Get up again as I usually do that week, but now there's a strange presence feeling from the far corner of the living room. Chalk it up to just the memory of being startled and tell myself it was just my hair in my eyes. Keeps happening now when I look over at the corner, as I am almost compelled to do so that it stays in the corner or whatever. My nervous system lights up with heavy chills up the spine every time. Loudly tell the thing that it is not allowed to be here. Salt the corner. The feeling lessens for a couple days, but comes back just as strong. Tell my buddy about it. He says, ask it how you can help to move on. One night can't sleep, and so I lay there meditating and reach out to the energy and ask, how can I help it? Nervous system lights up. The closest feeling to it I have felt is from hyperventilating, but my breathing and heart rate are normal. I practiced lucid dreaming pretty intensely for a while and would wake up with sleep paralysis relatively often as a side effect. As far as I know, I have not lost consciousness, but my body is now in a state very similar to sleep paralysis, but with my nervous system buzzing. None of this is exactly scary or negative, but I tell the thing that it can't hold on to me and attempt to turn towards it, and that released my body. Since then, the presence is no longer in the corner of the room, and my nerves don't light up when I look over there, nor do I feel a compulsion to look like I used to. I'm not even sure I know what I'm asking for, but maybe be put into contact with someone with some kind of experience with this stuff or recommendations for reading. Thank you to anyone who reads or has recommendations. So, yeah, hopefully someone can help them. I don't know. People in the comments are pretty onto stuff. Alright. Hands on Me and 17th Century Building. Edit 18th century, 1746. Right, okay, I've posted on here before, so I feel like people might think I'm just making shit up. I'm not. There's 2 stories here. Bear with me. Will scare you as much as it did me. 7 years living in a massive, converted 18th century building, all converted apartments, mine an open plan living room, kitchen, etc., 1 bedroom. One night, me and my friend get drunk and decide to use my camera and recording stuff to go into the vast basement doing the standard ghost hunting stupid stuff. Messing around cause it's an old building. The basement was easy to get into because the electric meters are down there. Basement is interesting. Massive. Various rooms. All really worn stone. You can see the little rooms where meat must have been hung and butchered, then just things stored. That's gross. Well, we get back to my apartment and listen in to what we've recorded. Chillingly, within the first 20 seconds, there was a young girl's voice saying, "Don't." That was it. Nothing for the next 30 minutes or so. We both shit ourselves, kept playing it back. It was clear as day now. Don't. We listened to it all. Nothing. Just that. Don't. If you've read my other posts, you'll know I mix music. I isolated the vocal tones on a 64-band EQ. It was clear. It wasn't even the main story. I'm living there about another 4 years. All feels good. Good energy. All fine. And then this happened recently. I lost my job and basically decided to move out, having a bit of depression, moving things out daily to my dad's house. I'm sitting in a bit of a shithole. Normally I keep things pristine, but kind of lost faith a bit. My apartment was in a bit of a bad state. Beer bottles and unwashed pots. Sounds like it, buddy. We all been there, I think. I'm laid on the sofa watching TV and I start to see small white little dots, or what folk call orbs, moving around, like some coming towards me. Fucking weird, but also black ones, black dots just moving randomly. I'm not tired, I'm not on drugs, I'm not drunk, I'm hydrated, and I've eaten. I'm not sick. I was like, what the fuck? So I just watch. They just kept like moving around me lots, towards me, past my head, getting a little bit larger as they come near to me. Believe me, I'm not making this up. If you can fucking tell me what happened, feel free. Then I feel a push on my ankle. I think nothing of it, muscle spasm or something. I keep watching TV. It's late night, it's dark, just the TV light, and the random little things floated by. Then I feel a push on my thigh. Again, I think, what the fuck? For a second, and just kind of look to see if something had fell off the coffee table or something. Nothing stupid idea even, but rational brain. Again, I sit watching TV, then... Okay, imagine you're laying on a sofa, and someone is hiding underneath you, and you feel a hand creep up the sofa. You feel the weight of it move the sofa slightly under you, then it fucking pushed me with 3 fingers. Absolutely scared the fucking shit out of me. It ran 3 fingers. I felt them all push along my side. That was a fucking hand. I jumped up, adrenaline to fuck. First thought was that my neighbor, a good friend of mine, had decided to play a terrible practical joke and hide under the sofa. Nope. No one. I started saying, please leave me alone, please, please. It gets worse. After calming down, trying to rationalize, I laid back down again. Next thing, a bright white column of light appears to my right. I close my eyes, open up, it's still there. Fucking shit myself. It gets worse. I go for a piss, go into the toilet, a bit weary. Breathe. Nothing. Walk out into the corridor, look down it, and hear very loudly 2 fucking hisses at me. I am now fucking terrified. Typing this now is making my hair stand up on the back of my neck, like it never was before. It makes my head kind of feel a weird rush across the skin. It gets worse. Just pausing there for a second, I was thinking, like, how can your neighbor fit under the couch? Sounds like a cat to me. Alright. As soon as that happened, I called my neighbor, but it's late. She doesn't answer, so I keep saying calmly as I can, please leave me alone. I'm going to clean up and I'm leaving soon. Every time I open my eyes, the white column of light is to my right. I have long hair and the column of light is behind it. It's not a visual distortion. It's there in physical space. It gets worse. Another column appears to my left, and I start hearing a crackling sound behind me. Then this weird brown line appears on the wall. Every time I try to look away, it follows my eye line, but it isn't exactly with my eyes. It's delayed randomly, but will not leave. It keeps following. I'm fucking scared to death by now, but I've kind of accepted it. I'm just telling it to leave. About 6 a.m., it stops. I leave. Like, why didn't you leave before? I call my dad and tell him I'm stressed and ask to stay there, not daring to tell him what happened. I stay there for a few days. No column of light, no hissing, all fine. I again try to rationalize. After a few days, I put it down to lack of sleep. So I take some boxes to start moving my stuff out. See one of my neighbors in the corridor and we chat. She says I should come see her before I leave, cup of tea, etc. I go into my apartment, all good, but sorry to be crude, really need to take a shit. As soon as I sit down, the 2 columns of light appear, one on either side of me. It's sending weird shivers down me now writing this. I try to ignore, then this fucking happens. I go into my bedroom, blocking it all out. As soon as I walk in, and I kid you fucking not, I hear something in the corner in a strange hissing voice whisper my fucking name, and then a load of unintelligible rambling. That's it. I'm fucking out of there. This is midday. My neighbor is still in the corridor. I quickly get out and try to act calm. Now I've only been really going back with friends helping me. I'm nearly fully moved out. Fuck that shit. This really happened and I'm still moving stuff out. I fucking hate going back. Something doesn't want me there. Sometimes I think it was trying to drive me away because it could see that being there alone was taking its toll on me. Needed to be with my family. One of my best friends died in an apartment above. An old lady, she'd lived there for years before I got there, but sitting drinking tea in the gardens was amazing. She was the most switched on 80-something-year-old I've ever met. Witty, energetic. Love you, Pam. Alright. My dead aunt made me and my dad breakfast. This one is by legitimate _ad _9753. My aunt passed away in the mid-90s from a brain tumor. I was in 3rd grade, and this hit me particularly hard, partially because she was awesome and partially because it was the first adult who I was close to who died in my life. We traveled from my home in Maryland to Manitoba for the funeral. As a kid, my dad and I were always ones to keep waking up like we were still on our time zone, no matter where we were. Throw in the fact that we were there for a fairly upsetting funeral, this meant we were up way earlier than anyone else in the house. My aunt and uncle's house was, as memory serves, a pretty amazing modern for the time house. The kitchen and dining room were lofted over a huge open living room. Once you made it all the way to that lofted area, there was a smaller family room with a TV, a more formal dining room, a galley kitchen, and a diner-style banquet with a fish tank behind it. It was a rad house. As I made my way up the stairs to the left, I could hear the TV and found my dad watching the very bad, very forgettable Boris and Natasha movie. This was the morning of the funeral and the day we would inter her ashes, so we weren't up to chatting too much. We watched the movie for a while, and then, as though everything was normal, my aunt cheerily popped out of the kitchen and asked what we wanted for breakfast. I'd like to be very clear. Nothing initially felt wrong at all. We didn't freak out, not even a side-eye was exchanged. We just answered her, and she went back out of view and started making breakfast. I remember smelling bacon. I remember being on my knees in the banquet, looking at the fish, and then looking to my right and seeing her busily making breakfast for us in the kitchen. Eventually, I made my way back over to the couch, and around that time, more people started coming upstairs. Only then, when the next person came upstairs, did my dad and I look at each other in shock, as though a veil had suddenly been lifted. No bacon had been made, no mess in the kitchen, no nothing. My dad and I never had the chance after that to say anything about it, and it slowly became a memory that got filed away. Fast forward to college, where all of a sudden one night, all the details of this come rushing back to me. It seemed a little suspect, so when I was home for Christmas, after my parents and I were wrapping up a nice dinner, I asked my dad, "Weird question, Dad. Did we see Aunt so-and-so's ghost?" "Yes, and I don't want to talk about it." Based on my mom's look of shock and befuddled what, it was pretty clear that he never had said anything to her about it either. That was it for a while. Jump a few more years forward, he apparently did talk to my mom and one of their and our close family friend. Apparently this story was a huge relief to her and her daughter because, unbeknownst to us, a day or two before the funeral, her daughter had been at the mall and saw my aunt across a busy shopping crowd smiling and waving to her before she inexplicably vanished in the hubbub. We still didn't talk about it much. I think it upset and unnerved my dad, for valid reasons, but I was happy to know that I hadn't made it up, as I thought it was odd, but a nice memory of her. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. And family can come back like that, like, I don't know. I've seen my mom in dreams, not personally. My sister sat down and had a long talk with her as she was sitting there wearing her funeral dress after her funeral. But she was older than me. Like, I saw her in my dream and was able to communicate with her that way, and that was good enough for me. Ghost next door. Alright, what is this? Can I raise the brightness on this? It's all the way up. Let's zoom in. What are we looking at? Yeah, I don't see it, do you? Like, I see this glint over here, which looks like the glare, so it causes that, because they look exactly the same, but... Let me turn down this light. Aha! Alright. So I guess that is it? What happened? Oh, is this a video? What the crack? Oh, gotta go down. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I wish we could zoom in more. Do you guys see anything else? Or is this it? Like, I don't have a freaking clue. I don't know. Let me know what you see and where you see it, because I don't see it. I even turned the light down so I could see the brightness better, but no. Unexplained thing flying off the counter. I've had silverware thrown at me in this house, and so have my kids. Alright, so in my old house, we had a kitchen bar where you could sit and eat breakfast. The dining room was right next to the kitchen, so we could clearly see the bar. One night, we were all eating dinner as usual. I think I got up to get a drink, but I didn't stomp or anything. I just calmly walked over. I'm specifying this for the sake of the story. I got my drink and was heading back to the table when one of our trinkets on the bar was a mini statue of a German man that you could take apart and put incense into to make it look like he's smoking. That's cool. Literally jumped off the counter and came violently crashing to the floor. I didn't see it, but everyone else did, and they were staring at it. I picked it up and put it back in its place, and dinner went on as usual, but that was creepy. There was no way it could have jumped the way it did without someone physically touching it, and none of us were close enough to it to do that. Super creepy. Damn it, Reddit. Why are you taking away my likes? Ghost scratching. This is by Musts or muscle? Must illit dreams. I don't know. MUSTELIDDREAMS if you're curious and want to look it up yourself. Ghost scratching. For a few nights now, my sister has heard these scratches like a cat trying to get in through her door, and assuming it's a cat, opens the door to find nothing. Last night I heard it in my room. My bed is right next to the door, so I can hear a lot of what happens outside. Anyway, last night I was about to go to sleep when I hear this sound like a cat scratching on the side of my door, but right next to my ear. It lasted for about 5 seconds, and a few seconds after it finished, I heard these pacing footsteps, and from the room next to mine for like 10 to 20 seconds. I understand that it is likely the pacing footsteps. It could have been a cat. See, this is what I was thinking, because I've heard this. This person said, "You sure you haven't got a mouse in your cavity wall near the door? It's scary all over, just a thought." Yeah, well, here in this office, I would have to tell you that I do have mice in the cavity here, right by the door. It's where the little panel sticks out. They're so annoying. I need to figure out a way to get to them, because they've come up from under the floor and into the wall. Alright. That's what we just read. See? Damn it, Reddit. You're messing it up. Messing it up. Okay, we got about 24 more minutes. Handling ghost story from Gifted Grandmother. This is by Machina 15. My Nana solved a triple murder when she was 9. In the middle of the night, my Nana's little brother ran out of his room and into his mother's room crying. She asked him what was wrong, and he told her, "They're in my room. They're all in my room." She told him, "It's okay," and went over to my Nana's room. She was already awake at the time. She asked my Nana, "Did you feel anything, Lola?" My Nana said yes, but I didn't know they would go into his room. It's Lana and Rebecca and their mother. These were the people that lived across the street at the time. Their daddy hurt them and killed them and buried them out in the orchard. My grandma's mother told her to say some prayers and that it's okay and go to sleep. Not believing her, of course. She had known her daughter had gifts, but she had known this man and he was friendly with her. The next day, she told her brother. He worked with the man at the time. When he went to work, he talked with the man and asked him how his family was doing. The man said they're doing good and that they went to visit with their cousin back east for a while. He said that's good and didn't pry. He also told the foreman at their job that he was worried about this guy's family. The foreman in turn notified the police. The patrolman came to his house to check in on him and ask about his family. That's when the man immediately started crying and admitted that he had killed them and buried them out in the nearby orchard. My Nana's family never saw the ghost again after he was caught. See, a lot of times, why do people always want proof? I believe you. So a lot of times they just want help, and once you solve their mystery or whatever's keeping them here, their unfinished business, then they can go away to where they need to be. I think it shared it or saved it this time. It looks like it. This one is by Basic8584. Can anyone else relate to this? When I was around 4 to 6, I saw a shadow. Of course, I didn't think anything of it, but I told my sister. By the way, I slept next to the attic door. For a long time randomly, I saw my sister in the hallway. And me being stupid, I followed. Before anything bad happened, when we got to the stairs, my grandma would wake up and show me my sister in bed. No one saw it. One night, I made it to the kitchen downstairs before my brother found me, and I saw a dark figure upset in the kitchen. What scared me was the knife on the counter. We later moved, but before we did, I would hear my sister's voice in the attic. I live far away now, so I'm just going to say the place I lived in is a place with scary activities, especially at night. Under where the comments are, Successful You 2130 said, I can somewhat relate to you. When I was a kid, about like 6 or 7, my family and I lived in a pretty small house. In 2 rooms, a bathroom that connected the 2 rooms, a kitchen, a living room, and a washing room. I have 4 sisters, I'm the only boy, and at this age, I would sleep with my mom since there was no room for me to sleep in the other room with all my other sisters. I'm not sure if my younger sister slept with my mom and by the night that I saw this, but one night I saw these human-like figures posted up right outside our room. My mom was still getting ready for bed, and I remember calling out to her along the lines of, "Mom, Jenny is right here," right there. Immediately after I said that, the figure quickly turned and disappeared. However, it would do it repeatedly. Each time I would tell my mom my sister is outside of the room, the figure would quickly vanish behind the walls. Every time my mom would reassure me, saying no one was there. This experience honestly makes me believe children see things, and older people can't. Crazy thing is, right after my experience, 2 of my sisters called the police because they heard the sound of running coming from our basement. I think my old house had some sort of spirit that liked messing with kids, only because my mom said she's never experienced anything weird in that house. Creepy. Sounds like a doppelganger. Doppelganger. I think I like that person's name. Yeah, I do. Yeah, don't follow those things. Don't talk to them. Don't nothing. I saw my mom as a shadow person. This is by X Karut Paz. Xkarutoz. I saw my mom as a shadow person. Alright, so this happened when I was around 8 to 10. Around that age, I can't remember, but I knew I was young. So ever since we moved into our new house, I saw this shadow man standing in the corner of my room near my closet door. Right, he was taller than me, of course, and was skinny, but not like a stick skinny. He was an average weight man, and I used to see him every night, but he never did anything. He just watched. So one day I chose to tell my mom, saying, "There's a man in my room at night," or "There's a ghost in the corner of my room." And she would say, "It's your imagination. Stop playing." And I was being so serious, so on this night she said she would keep her door open for me, right? And my room is set up to where my bed is on the back wall, the long way, right? And if I was laying down with my door open, I could see into her room if her door was open. So time came where it was nighttime. Everyone went to bed, and I'm in my room looking at TV, and the man was there again, just watching me. And on this night, fear was running through my body because I was scared, so I look away from him and into my mom's room. And in her room, I see a shadow figure crouched down looking at me, and that sent a shiver down my spine. I was so scared to move. It was like me and the figure were having a staring contest, and I stared at it until I fell asleep because I was a child. I couldn't stay up long, but I never told my mom about it until I was older and we had moved to a different house. Yeah. Sometimes people's comments blow really piss me off. But how could saying you see a skinny old man? Or was that your mom as a shadow person? I don't get it. I don't understand. This is by Mel2008. Claudia, the bad luck charm. For the longest time, I've always loved ghost stories and just fiction in general, and I always had to remind myself to not believe it. I wanted to, but I couldn't for the sake of my sanity. That all changed with an interesting story. I can't remember how long it was, maybe a year now, when my friend told us about her Sylvian plushie that was pure evil. Wherever she went with it, boom, something bad happened. She tried everything, and even her highly religious grandmother had to get a priest, and I guess to get the spirit out of there, but it didn't work, so she gave up and stuffed it in her closet. I wanted to believe my friend and her story, but I guess after telling myself so many times, "Nope, that's not real, Mel. Don't get all crazy now," I couldn't. I didn't think she was crazy or making stuff up. I just tried not to think of it, and that was that. But recently, she's been messing with it, trying to befriend it and talk without getting bad luck. And at first, it didn't work out well, but Claudia came around. Oh, that's the spirit's name, by the way. Claudia can't possess any living being, most likely just objects. Whether or not she can move things is up for debate. She's not evil, just mischievous. I'm not completely sure how my friend talks to Claudia, but she can. He gives her a question. She'll answer, probably with your mom joke, though. But what Claudia has said has been pretty crazy. She was 13 when she died, and how she died is a little sad. This next part is kind of dark, so this is your warning. So trigger warning, everyone. If you get scared at ghost stories and how people die, you should probably not be listening to this right now. Alrighty. The more things she said about Claudia, the more I believed that, yes, Claudia was real. She had to be, right? But my friend started getting unsure. She was going insane. I told her that if she was real, then we just found out what happens when you die. That we've possibly found a witness of the afterlife and made a scientific breakthrough, and if it wasn't, who cares? At the end of the conversation, we decided there was one way to find out. So my friend went on incognito looking them up on Ancestry. and narrowed it down to a single person that I probably shouldn't say the full name of, trying to avoid saying any names for security reasons. And she actually found a French article talking about that same girl. Not only that, but there was a file with a crap ton of information. So far, pretty accurate to the things Claudia said before all this research. I'm not going to give that many details, but so far we know her full name, parents, day she died, where she's from, her school, which was destroyed 4 years ago, friends. Basically, that file contains everything and it's pretty long. My friend got Claudia to confirm all the current information, and yeah, she said it was all correct besides the fact that one of the friends was her cousin. All this is happening as we speak, so updates on the situation. It's a lot of stuff and it might take a while, but all we need is the cause of death to make or break this entire thing, so stay tuned because this ain't over. Oh, and one more thing. I officially believe in ghosts. Okay, so I just had to read that little part again. Well, we have an update. Mel 2008 says, update on the situation. We found out a lot of new things about our friend, Claudia. Most of these being accurate, but the biggest breakthrough by far is the fact that she lied about her death. According to the same French article she died of, again, warning for this dark part, it won't say. My friend first said that she might have been ashamed by what she did, so she lied. Uh-oh. Sounds like the sewer slide. I argued that if that was the case, she could have said she was ran over, killed, stuff like that. But she said that if she said something like that, we would find out that she lied a lot sooner. We also agreed that it is something Claudia would do, but now what you've all been waiting for. What happened to Claudia after she died, and what happens when people die. Okay, so once Claudia passed away, she wandered around her neighborhood in Brazil. But when she went into her neighbor's house and saw a Sylvian plush, she wanted to see if she could yeet the Sylvian to prank her neighbors. But she got sucked into the plush and got stuck there for 7 years. Then she got sold on Amazon, got put in a box, got shipped to America, which according to her was like being shook over and over, and was given to my friend. And here we are, and well, that's it. That has been quite the journey, and all this has been cool, but I don't know. The ending wasn't as satisfying as I thought it would be, but whatever. If any of you have a question for Claudia, let's ask me and I'll get you Claudia's response. So, didn't she at first say that the story was from France and now she's saying Brazil? I'm kind of confused there. What the hell is happening? Let's check in the time again real quick. We got 10 minutes, we can get through another one. Come on, Reddit, quit messing with my stuff. This one is by Corruption Doll. Uncomfortable ghost fight in my house. So, a bit of a backstory. My wife, we'll call them R. Them has had this thing following her around since leaving offerings on a severely degraded gravestone as a child. Like this marker was so degraded that there was no trace of a name or anything. This thing has physically attacked every woman to share a room with her until me. Even her mom and I saw the scars. It also psychologically attacked her sister and her ex-husband, and from what I know, may have ultimately caused their divorce. This thing goes dormant for long periods of time, but when it's active, it causes my wife to enter the back rooms for tea. No, she doesn't drink. It's also one of those, the more you think about it, the more active it becomes kind of things for R. So my other friend, will call them in, has a spirit that has been around since their childhood and has been a friend to them. Nothing violent or bad about this little one, just a child who has been a safe space for them. Onto the story. I've always been spiritually adept in terms of filling presences, so when we got together for game night, and something felt just overwhelmingly wrong, I couldn't ignore it. I knew our thing had been active that day, and when mentioned that it felt something in said, it had brought their spirit. Oh no, thing doesn't play well with others. No one could focus on the game because the negative energy was so oppressive. It had been bad all day, but when In and their spirit arrived, it got worse. The rest of our friends who arrived a bit later immediately commented on the off feeling. You know, in a horror movie when the music goes so soft that the tension remains constant, like a rubber band pulled so tight you're just waiting for it to snap back on you? That's how it felt. Just the oppressive anticipation of something bad. You know, in a horror movie when the music goes so soft that the tension remains constant? I was feeling overwhelmed with fear from our tiny laundry room and complete malice and anger from above R. It felt as the two were fighting and In's spirit was trying to hide. It was scared whatever thing is could hurt it. They fought and fought until In had their spirit go outside. Then Thing found another target, ours and my 1.5-year-old daughter. She started screaming. She was so terrified she was shaking. Everyone in the room was trying to comfort her, but she wouldn't stop shaking. We tried putting her to bed, but as soon as we got the door of her room, she would scream as loud as she could and grab at the door frame to keep from going in. Thing was in her room. We passed our daughter off to the group and started a cleansing on the room. We had to protect our daughter. This thing wanted to hurt her. I don't know why, but it did. It took nearly an hour because I kept having to kick people out of the room, but I cleansed it and our daughter slept peacefully that night. We haven't had a run-in with Thing since, but I've put protection jars around the house. I just hope it's gone for good. Me too, it's really sad. It sucks when it attacks your kids. That is not cool. Not cool at all. Alright, we got 6 minutes. Nan came to say goodbye. The story belongs to my father. He has told me about it many times as he can't explain it. When my father was 18 years old, he went on holiday to Greece with his girlfriend. It would have been in the mid-80s. In the night, he woke up from the feeling of someone sitting on the bed. He assumed it was his girlfriend and didn't really give it much thought. Back to sleep he goes. In the morning, his girlfriend wakes up and says, I had a really weird dream that your Nan was sitting on the end of your bed last night. So my dad tells her of him feeling like someone was sitting on the end of his bed. A bit freaked out by it, he decides to use the phone in the hotel reception to make a call back to England to chat to his Nan. He calls her home phone and his brother answers. This isn't unusual as his brother lives with Nan anyway. So my dad explains to him about the dream and just said he was calling to check all was okay. His brother bursts into tears and tells my dad that Nan had died in the night, and he wasn't going to tell my dad until he had returned from holiday. Although sad, my dad said he felt comforted that his Nan came to say goodbye. That's always cool when they're able to do that. I wish I had a mouse, but this computer doesn't have very many ports. Well, that one is too long to get through before break, I believe. 5 minutes, we might be able to. Let's give it a try. This is by John_Raimondo. I think I left myself open. Not long after I started my podcast about paranormal supernatural things, strange things have been happening around my apartment. I once heard that the more you talk about these kind of things, the more you leave yourself open to them. After all this, I wholeheartedly believe that. My fiancé and our 3-month-old daughter were out shopping, so it was just myself and my dog at home. I was in my office studio game room playing video games with some friends when I heard a door close. Thinking it was just my fiancé coming home because she had forgot her purse or something, I called out, Hey honey, what did you forget? No response. Called out again, "Babe." Still nothing, so thinking she just didn't hear me for some reason, I got up and walked into our room. No one was there. Confused, I walked into the baby room and checked in there to see if they maybe stopped for a diaper change. Still no one there. I decided to text her and see if they came by quicker than it took me to get up and look around. She says they're still out and have not come back home since they left a few hours ago. Now, we do live in an apartment connected to other people, so there is a possibility that it could have been a door on the other side that I heard close, but to me it sounded way too loud to be a noise I heard through the walls that connect our apartments. After a while, I'd gone back to playing video games and kind of forgot about the whole thing. But not long after that, I heard a noise that sounded like someone was rubbing their hand along the walls in the hallway. Again, this could have been our neighbors, but it still sounded too close to be on the other side of the wall. This time, I just decided to ignore it and went back to the game. A few hours later, my fiancé and daughter finally came home, and after a few hours of getting the baby to bed, my fiancé wanted to play with us. While we are playing, my dog runs into our room, which is where my fiancé is, and turns down the hallway and starts growling with his hair standing straight up. If you know my dog, you know this is not like him at all. He's the kind of lovable, submissive dog that if someone broke in, he'd probably bring them a toy and roll over for some belly rubs. All of this was sufficient enough to make me think that none of these events were coincidences. These events happened all in the same day, but shortly after recording the second episode of my podcast. A few days after that, my baby was asleep in the living room in her swing while I was in the office working. I went out to check on her when I heard something fall behind me from the kitchen. I turned around and saw her pacifier on the kitchen counter. I had just done the dishes and all that just an hour before, and I know for a fact I placed it on top of the drying rack where it could not have fallen. The drying rack we use for the baby stuff is the kind with all different size pegs standing straight up, and her pacifier was the kind that is open on the bottom of the nipple part, so the peg was going straight through to the top of the pacifier. Like I said, oh no, I just skipped out. Oh no. Like I said, there's no way it could have fallen on its own. I placed it back on the drying rack and shook it and blew it as hard as I could, but didn't manage to get it to fall again unless I were to actually flick it off. Around 5 a.m. the next morning, I'm sitting in the living room feeding her when she stops drinking her milk, looks in the corner of the living room towards the kitchen, and her eyes grow wide just before she lets out a scream that I have never heard from her before. Scared, thinking I might have accidentally pinched her while I was moving her, I checked everywhere for a mark, but there was nothing. I tried as best as I could to calm her, to no avail. That was until we went back into our room where my fiancé was, and has her crystals, which are supposed to protect you from negative energies, and spirits right by the door. The second we went back into the room, the baby stopped crying as if nothing had happened. This had continued with random knocks being heard, disembodied voices, and my dog acting very much unlike himself, growling and barking at nothing. That leads us to last night. While recording the podcast, my fiancé and I kept hearing knocks on the door to the office where we record, and kept telling me that she hears something in her headphones. Thinking that it was just feedback from one of us talking, I wrote it off. The knocking did make me feel a bit uneasy, though. For at least an hour, the knocking and feedback kept happening until we finished recording. Now, just for context, let me pause this really quick because I'm almost done. Before we get to Miss Mia. Alright. Just for context, my baby, of course, wouldn't be able to get herself out of her crib, walk down the hallway, knock on the door, go back down the hallway, and get herself back into her crib before I got up to check the door the first few times. While we record, we usually keep the dog in the room with us, and this night was no different. He was laying in his bed on the opposite side of the room from the door. Today I sat down to edit the episode when halfway through, my fiance's mic goes crazy. All it picked up was static and some voices that didn't sound like either of ours. Just as this happened, the baby was in her swing when I heard the music start glitching, and when I went to look at it, the display to change the speed of the swing and volume, and all that was flickering, and it seemed like someone was holding the swing down. The gears were grinding, and I tried to turn it off, but that didn't work, so I had to fully unplug it to get it to stop. I immediately took her out of the swing, packed her up, grabbed my dog, and went on a walk. I just got back home, and now I'm sitting here typing this to you all. As soon as I got back inside, the air felt heavy, and I have this odd feeling of being watched. I hope this is the worst of it and things don't get too out of hand. Maybe I'll write you guys an update if anything changes. Sorry for rambling. I'm just scared. Yep. I don't see an update yet. All right, so maybe later on, John Raimondo will have an update. All right, on that note, boys and girls, it is time for a music break. We have the lovely and talented Miss Mia Savage with her band Antidote for Savages, which is her playing all the instruments and writing all the songs and doing all the remarkable, crazy, awesome things. Anywho's, she's going to be singing Not a Phase, Singing to Your Grave, The Bottom Line, and Bury Me in Heaven. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
savings of money. Just a choice right now between fear and love. Just a choice right now between fear and love.
Sorry about that, guys. I was in my email looking at stuff, but there's a video that I wanted to share with you guys instead of doing scary stories because, yeah, basically, but I got time for that. So we're gonna check this one out, which is 10 scary ghost videos that will make your blood run cold, and this is by Depths of Despair. Subscribe, like any videos you've watched, and let's go. That looks like the picture we were trying to figure out. Oh no, that was her cabin. Never mind. Whoa. Hmm, what? That's weird. heard Carl's voice. Can't be an animal. Hmm. Doppelganger. What is that? Monster? What the fuck is that? Some people would say, is there a tape recorder out there? Mm, same thing, right? Doppelganger mimic. On patrol. Mm, what is it? What the heck? Well, it's dark. Is that Black-Eyed Kids? And you can see their faces. It's like a mesh metal thing.
Ahorita le vamos a mostrar la puerta donde se miraron lo que se miró. No quiero decir qué es lo que se miró. Es esta.
Yeah.
Esta es la puerta. Ya está una lona que no sé qué quiere decir. Vamos a bajar. Ay, cabrón.
My speaker peeps, I'm sorry I had you guys muted. I had my mic going, but not the sound for the video mic. Hopefully we're not too far into it, but still it's so irritating.
Esa es la...
Yes, 6 minutes. That's irritating. I'm sorry, guys.
¿Verdad?
What a loser I
Esa es la
am.
escuela por dentro. Son los salones.
The police officers return to the school to check the area, but they see no sign of anything strange, and no issues were reported that night about students missing from their home. So the question remains, just who or what are they? The two officers believe they are children who lost their lives, now bound to the school as they relive their final moments. But I'll let you be the judge of this. In the dark. This next video was taken on March the 2nd of 2025. A woman named Celeste was in the kitchen playing around with her nephew when all of a sudden he started behaving strangely, staring off into the dark hallway, saying he was watching a little girl with a scary face. Thinking it's a joke, she pulls her phone out and begins to record the boy, asking him to show her. Take a look.
Mi sobrino decía que veía a una nena, pensamos que estaba jodiendo.
¿Dónde? Vamos a saludarla.
No,
La Michi también está bien de Bob, ¿viste?
tiene,
Compañeros reales.
¿Qué tiene?
tiene cara.
¿Qué tiene?
Tiene
What's wrong?
cara mía.
She has a scary face.
Mira, cara.
¿A dónde está la nena? Vení,
Where is the
vení,
girl?
vamos a buscar a la nena.
Let's go get
Hasta
the
que
girl.
me puse a ver el video y encontré algo.
Decime dónde está, señora. ¿Allá dónde? ¿Allá
Where
dónde?
is it?
As they head down the dark
What?
hallway to check what the boy is seeing, they captured this. A creepy pale face can be seen lurking in the corner of the dark, just watching them. Celeste didn't
Gross.
notice the face until watching the footage back later on, and now insists that you should always believe the kids when they tell
it's
you they
kind of
see
hard to see
something.
it.
However, it
Yeah,
is also
definitely believe
possible
your
that it's
kids.
a case of pareidolia, and the boy is just
Yeah.
scared of what he's seeing.
But still, she
Room
does have a scary face.
205.
Room
The
205.
following video comes from a woman named Tracy who works in a fairly big hotel located somewhere in Illinois. And for a while now, the reception has been receiving many complaints about a single room known as Room 205. But after questioning the people complaining, not one of them would explain what was wrong with the room.
Okay, so I'm here at work tonight, and we have workers that come here that work on the railroad. I checked in 5 of them, and the second floor is where they usually go because that's where all the king suites are at. Well, they're all saying, please don't put me in room 205. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with 205? And not one of them would tell me what was wrong with 205. I said, is it haunted? Like, really, what is it? Nobody can tell me nothing. So how about me and you, all of us, go up to room 205 and see why no one wants to rent that room.
After
Oh,
receiving
shit.
so many strange complaints about what seems like an ordinary room like every other, Tracy decides to head over there and check this strange room out for herself.
I bet
Okay, walking up there
something
now.
really messed up happens.
Going up the steps. All right.
Looks like a hotel.
It's like really cold in here, though.
Didn't they say it was an old folks home or
Like,
something?
really cold. And the air's not even on. I mean, I don't see anything. So maybe we can sit. Yeah, the air and stuff's not on. Maybe sit in the dark. See if we
Yeah,
can
that's
hear
a good
something.
idea. Let's do that.
I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I'm gonna probably lose all my views for my people watching, but okay, let's do this. Oh God! All right, no, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Okay.
She didn't check the bathroom, so
Yes, I just got my answer. Oh
Yeah.
my God! Going back to the
let's check
front.
every inch of the room.
After
Under
entering the
bed,
room, she
in the
noticed it was
bathroom,
oddly
behind the
cold.
door.
And even worse, she inspects the whole
In the
room and there's
cabinets.
nothing there. But when she
She don't
turns off
see
the
the cabinets
lights,
there,
a
but-
creepy voice can be heard whispering, "Hey." Creeped out, Tracy decides to get out of there. Despite what happened, Tracy is determined to revisit this room and uncover more, so hopefully we get some more updates soon. The bathroom.
I wonder if she got
Just a few
fired.
days ago, on March the 17th
She
of
might have got
2025, User Oh Well Whenever explains that something disturbing has been happening inside his home for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Something he just can't seem to be able to explain. Late in the afternoon, while he's in the living room, he sees something in his bathroom. This is what he captured.
Oh my god, bro.
Is that wet footprints?
I just seen the craziest shit. Look, over there. Over there, I just seen the craziest shit.
What?
Look. Oh my god.
What is it?
What was
I'm
that?
not seeing nothing. I see.
Oh my god.
That's
Oh my
creepy.
god, what is that?
It looks like a shadow in your hallway. It's moving.
I'm like shaking right now. What is that? Look it. Watch, it's gonna do it again. It's gonna do it again.
That picture right by the hallway is creepy too.
Look at that. Nah, bro.
While sitting down in the living room, a shadow can be seen peeking out from the bathroom before retracting back in. But every time he checks, he sees nothing there. 2 days later, the same thing happens again. This time, he goes over to check it out.
Yeah, I was about to say, come on now. Gather your cojones. Let's go and see what the heck it is. Oh, now you can actually see a head shape.
Even the cat's tripping.
Oh man.
Last time he'll tell me to go look. I'm going to look.
Last time I just saw the shoulder part.
Look. It's literally just the bathroom.
So it would have been like coming from...
Don't ignore that. But look, windows closed. There's nobody in here. It's just dirty. I'm just not...
Yeah, you're a filthy pig.
Like,
just kidding. It's pretty clean.
What is going on, bro? Look at that.
The shadow can be seen once again. This time, it quite clearly resembles a face, and you can see what looks like a person's nose.
Yeah,
Even
before it just
stranger
looked like
is that
the
the camera
shoulder
glitches
part.
seconds later, and even his
Even
cat
so,
can
like,
be seen staring in that
head
direction.
is bigger
But
than
once
body
again, when
proportion
he goes to
used to be.
check, there's nobody there, or anything that could cause this. Someone suggested that it could just be the curtains moving around with the wind, but he shows the window is closed, and explains the angle of the curtains wouldn't show the shadow in this position, even if they were moving. But as you can see, they are very still. This has been creeping him out for the past few weeks, as he has no idea what's going on. Is this a real paranormal phenomenon caught on camera, or just an intricate ruse? You be the judge. If you have any video recommendations, you can send them over to depthsofdespairbusiness@gmail.com, or tag us on TikTok at depthsofdespairyt. Not alone.
Quit talking like you're going somewhere.
A man named Chase Beckstead, along with his wife Rachel, had been staying at Rachel's grandfather's house. Unfortunately, he had just passed away only a month ago. Late one night, when the two are just getting ready for bed, something terrifying happens.
Oh my goodness. I think I've seen this one.
You okay?
I don't know.
So, we were just going to bed and we're not... Let me just show you.
Maybe you should just leave the door open so Grandpa can come in and go to bed too. Jeez. Poor guy.
Like, we've literally had to put the bag up against the door because we're not sure
if it's the wind or whatever. What was that? Was it a bug?
And like, we're literally just...
That's terrible.
The bedroom door suddenly begins to rattle out of nowhere as if someone was there, but there's nobody, nor is there any wind draft that could possibly cause this. Chase and Rachel are completely freaked out by this ordeal and decided it would be best if they head back to their own house. So they pack their stuff, and suddenly, something even worse happens. Watch closely.
Watch.
Okay, so we're leaving. We got all of our stuff packed. Oh. What? Oh my gosh.
Well, let him out of the bathroom, damn it.
Okay. Yeah, we're out here. I'm leaving. Like, I don't know what's going on.
As Chase is preparing to leave, the door suddenly slams shut on its own and begins to rattle continuously once again. This time sounding even more aggressive than previously. Not wanting to stay any longer, he just up and leaves the place. Some people believe it was the spirit of Rachel's grandfather now bound to his former home. However, other viewers believe it is something far worse now residing in the vacant home, due to it being absent for some time now. Although Chase and his wife have no idea what is the cause. Dragged. The following video comes from a woman named Erica. The footage itself was actually captured by a CCTV camera in her little cousin's house, located somewhere in Indonesia. In the video, the boy can be seen relaxing on the floor of his grandma's room, just playing a game on his phone, while she's sick resting in bed, when suddenly something utterly terrifying is captured.
I don't like this already. What?
The boy's legs suddenly get pulled as he's dragged over. Terrified, he gets up, opens the door, and runs out of the room. And strangely, the door beside him opens by itself. What makes this even more creepy is that when his cousin Erica asked him what happened, he explains that his grandma, who was in bed, suddenly said she could see 3 women close by. Thinking she was just not well and seeing things, the boy ignored it and carried on playing on his phone. Then shortly after, he was suddenly dragged across the room.
Kan aku kan awalnya kan main FF. Tiba-tiba Opung bilang, apa itu perempuan 3 orang, satu dekat TV, satu dekat itu, yang kamera-kamera, satunya di balik tirai.
And that's when it happened. The family believed that spirits seemed to be attracted to that room, and may have something to do with Grandma's poor health
she's almost to the other side.
Let me know what you think. No sleep.
No sleep.
Late one night, a woman named Brandy was fast asleep alongside her husband when her home security camera detected something bizarre at 2:45 a.m. Watch closely.
Watch. What the hell was that? Is that an alien head?
A sudden bright flash of light can be seen catching the dog's attention before the door opens slightly, and what looks like a creepy pale face peeks out from behind the door before moving back out of view. Then a shadow figure in the shape of a small boy can be seen standing in the hallway momentarily before dissipating into the darkness. And once again, the pale face shows itself behind the door before the final flash of light. Brandy is unable to explain the strange sequence of events she has witnessed on the footage, but says this is the first paranormal thing she has ever experienced. Afterlife visit. On March the 17th of 2025, a woman is on her deathbed when her daughter notices her communicating with something unseen. Thinking it's the deathbed phenomena where people usually see visions of loved ones who have already passed on, she decides to record this heartwarming moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Her mother can be seen reaching her arms out and saying okay, as if she's clearly communicating with something unseen.